we're trying to get the chemistry of the show involved, and I have to filibuster like I do around here a lot to just get everybody in their spot. And often now, because I've gotten older, when I have to filibuster, I'm terrible at it. I just sort of make all sorts of mistakes. I get distracted because, me and Billy are laughing about something.
Don't be so hard on
The
yourself.
key is just keep talking. You'll find your way eventually, Dan. Just keep saying words. Eventually, you'll get there. Whether it is you know what you're going to say or not going to say, once you start saying it, once you just keep going, you just keep going, and eventually you'll find your way. The words will come to you. You don't necessarily need to know how it is once you start saying it, what the end road. It's like a choose your own adventure type thing, right? You just start talking and then you say, do I want to go down this path? Do I want to go down this path? Do I want to go down that path? And sometimes you don't even really know where the path leads, but you go on the journey, and we're all here to go on this journey together. Me, you, Stu Gotts, Amin, Mike, Witty, Roy, Chris, some other people who I just see their names, so I don't know if I can mention them or not. We're all just in this together. And then we go down a path, and then we'll see where that takes us. And then once we go down that path, sometimes there's more paths. So like you could go down one path, right? It's like the opposite of a bracket, right? You start down one, March Madness, I guess technically is what it's called. You start out with 64 teams. Well, technically you start out with 68 teams, but those other 4 teams aren't really in the bracket of 64, and they just kind of plug them in. So anyways, we'll just go back to the 64 team bracket. So you start out with 64 teams, and you see all of these different, think of like branches on a tree. Like a tree, branches, like a tree. What is it called? Like like a family tree, but this isn't a family tree. Just think of a bracket that starts with 64 different teams, right? And then it slowly starts getting smaller and smaller. 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, and then you have the championship. This is the opposite of that. You're starting at the 1, right? And then there's potentially 2 paths. So you go from 1 to 2. And then if that has 2 paths, you can go from 2 to 4. Or if there's 3, you could potentially go from 2 to 6. And then in that 6, there could also be 2 or 3 or 4, any variation. So let's just say you go from 1 to 2, then there's 3 variations after 2. You go to 2 to 6, and then there's 3 variations from that. So then it's 6 to 18, I guess, right? 6 times 3, 18, right? And then 18 could have 2, and then you could go from 18 to 36 if there's 2 for each of those 18, and then 36. Let's just say 2 for, simplicity's sake here. You go 36 times 2, 72 times 2, 144, I believe. Yeah, 144 times 2, 288. So you see what I'm saying? You just start going down a path, and then it can lead in all kinds of different directions. You could go one way, or you could go 288 different ways. It's a whole choose your own adventure thing. That's the thing that happens when you start talking sometimes. You don't really know if you're going to go route 1, route 2, route 3, route 4, route 5, route 6, route 7, route 8, route 9. 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. You know what I'm saying? 288 different ways entirely that you can go every time. And that's just in this example. There's countless other examples of ways you can go. So sometimes when you're trying to filibuster and you're trying to talk, you just start talking and kind of see where it is that it takes you. Kind of like a lazy river. You get in a lazy river and just let the river take you where it takes you. Get it?